Oh god. We begin with a tour of the Henge for like the 10th time this season.
The Jedi has engaged Lord Balaam at the Henge.
I can't believe they actually called it the Henge. Hera has arrived along with her son Jason after their dangerous mission in the last episode. Still can't believe you brought your son to that. Jesus, you are a terrible parent.
Can I come out now?
No, you can't. There might be assassin droids or other enemies nearby. Get back inside.
Alright.
Oh, for God's sake. They then stumble across Hu Yang, who stood on the edge of the cliff.
I told them to stay together. But they never listen.
Why is this droid the most emotional character in this show? It's a lump of metal and it's more expressive than these humans. The next 20 minutes is pure, unadulterated nostalgia bait. Nothing more, nothing less. We pick up where the previous episode left off with Ahsoka and Anakin in the World Between Worlds. Now you may be asking, how did Ahsoka get here? How is Anakin here? Two very good questions. Unfortunately, the show doesn't bother to explain either of them. The most common interpretation I've seen is that this is all in Ahsoka's head after she got concussed in the previous episode. I mean, sure, let's go with that and see how we do. Anakin then says to Ahsoka that he's here to complete her training.
Live or die.
Pardon? I hope we delve into this more, please. Writers, explain what he means by this. You'd think she'd have a bit more emotion. You know, crossing blades with a former mentor, pretty significant. We cut back to the Henge and learn the real reason Hera brought Jason with her. Thanks to Jason's force abilities, he can sense that Ahsoka is out there, in the ocean somewhere.
Carson, get your squadron airborne. I need you out over the ocean, low altitude, full sweep.
We already did that.
Well, we're doing it again.
Oh, wait a minute. This completely destroys the interpretation of the World Between Worlds stuff all being in Ahsoka's head. Because if that was the case, then how on earth would he and Hera be able to sense her? There goes that, I guess. We cut back to Anakin and Ahsoka fighting in the World Between Worlds. Anakin proceeds to cut the beam which knocks Ahsoka into the Clone Wars.
This is the Clone Wars!
Thanks, Dave, I had absolutely no idea. We've got young Ahsoka, Hayden Christensen is back as Anakin, again. Everyone's pretending like this is Hayden's grand return to the role, even though Kenobi came out like a year ago when he was in that. Did everyone just forget about Kenobi? I mean, I guess I don't blame them, that's how these shows are made. They're made for people on Twitter to post a few seconds of footage and claim it's the best thing they've ever seen, and then those same people forget about it a few weeks later. Anakin and Ahsoka then run off into battle through the vast, vast fog. I get that it's supposed to represent the hazy nature of Ahsoka's mind, but come on, you can't see anything. We transition to the aftermath, and Ahsoka's feeling pretty down.
Is that all I'll have to teach my own Padawan one day? How to fight?
To protect and defend the people that need it? I've got no idea what you're trying to get at here.
Do you even want a Padawan? You know, teaching's not all it's cracked up to be.
Really? What makes you say that?
I'm joking.
You're joking.
Yeah, I'm joking.
How can you joke at a time like this?
How dare he try and boost the morale of the group? What an awful thing to do. After their conversation, Anakin walks off into battle and...
I clapped when I saw Darth Vader!
Wait a minute. No. Anakin Skywalker is Darth Vader? I had absolutely no idea, thanks Dave. We arrive back at the Henge and the search for Ahsoka is still ongoing.
Yang, where are they?
What sort of a question is that? You make it sound like he's hiding information from you. If he knew, I'm sure he'd tell you.
Is there a chance they're out here?
Always. Especially with Lady Tano.
Yes, she does have a way of surviving drowning. We cut back to the Clone Wars flashback and see Ahsoka taking out some Mandalorians with her lightsabers. Even though they're wearing Beskar armor. How do you keep forgetting your own rules?
Nice work, Commander. We'll secure the perimeter. Come on, let's go!
Remember the Clone Wars?
Come on, let's
Oh
go!
my god, it's Rex!
I hate what Star Wars has become. Anakin then shows up to talk with Ahsoka.
You are more Anakin, but more powerful and dangerous than anyone realized.
Where on earth did that come from? You have to establish a conflict for it to be meaningful. You can't just pull one out of thin air. We then get a repeat of the original lesson, but this time Anakin's got a red lightsaber. Because he did in fact go to the dark side, just in case you forgot.
Live or die.
Ahsoka then responds with...
No.
Wasn't one of the options, I'm afraid. Not sure what Anakin is supposed to do with that response.
Incorrect.
So they return to the platform, and this time Anakin is all Sithy. He's got the yellow eyes, and we're reminded once again that he is in fact Darth Vader. A Twitter user described this as probably the best shot in all of Star Wars. Cut a clip of Anakin and Vader together and you get hailed as the best shot in Star Wars. That's how far we've sunk. We then get this line of dialogue.
Time to die.
Time to die, really? Is that the best you've got? Time to die. I have no words. Star Wars is saved. They did it. Good job, Disney. The fight continues and Anakin disarms Ahsoka. Well, I guess you're pretty screwed now. I mean, you were screwed anyway even with your 2 lightsabers. This is prime Anakin Skywalker. Without your 2 lightsabers, there's no way you can beat him. She then beats him. Really? You're gonna have her just steal his lightsaber like it's nothing? I'm sure I can believe that would happen, Dave.
I choose to live.
I'm so confused. What was the point of any of this? Couldn't she have just said this the first time Anakin posed the question? What was the point of his lesson anyway? When was it established that Ahsoka didn't know she had to fight to live? Why is this entire lesson built on flaws she didn't even have? So Anakin despawns and the world between worlds begins to fill up with water. We transition to the ocean and Ahsoka is pulled out by a New Republic person. Has Ahsoka been in the water the whole time? If so, how on earth is she alive? I'm so confused. Why don't they explain any of this? Next, we are made to witness something absolutely horrible. This is bold Ahsoka, and she looks absolutely terrifying. She retrieves the broken orb and tries to figure out a way to find Sabine.
She might have left an impression on it, like a memory.
So we'll know what happened.
Possibly.
Lucky this just so happens to be a thing you can do. Would have been a big shame if you didn't just so happen to possess this very rare ability. After feeling the ball, she looks up and she sees the space whales. They're still here after all this time, how convenient. Hera then has a conversation with Mon Mothma.
Do you have evidence of Imperial Remnant activity or of Grand Admiral Thrawn's return?
No.
Yes you do, you big liar. What about when Huyang scanned the hyperspace travel ring thing? Or those Dark Jedi that ambushed the New Republic cruiser? You've had 2 opportunities to let this Senate know of your evidence and you've said no both times. Why? Mothma also reveals that Hera and Ahsoka will have to go to Coruscant to face trial. You could have potentially avoided all this hassle if you just mentioned some of the evidence you have, but for some reason you decided to ignore it. Whilst this was going on, Ahsoka concocted a genius plan to find Sabine. You're gonna have to bear with me on this one. So they all fly up to the space whales. Ahsoka then gets out of the ship and asks one of them for a lift. Next, they proceed to fly into its mouth, and I shit you not, Ahsoka sits there having absolutely no idea where this space whale is going to take them and says this.
You're certain they know where Sabine was taken?
I have no idea.
What?
No idea. We'll just see where it goes.
It could go anywhere.
I know. That's better than going nowhere.
Problem solved.
Except it isn't, because in what way is going somewhere completely random better than going nowhere? I would love to know what the thought process behind this was, if there even was one at all. I mean, we all know what's going to happen, right? The next episode will pick up with the space whales taking them to the exact location that they need to go. Which would be very, very convenient considering they could literally end up being taken absolutely anywhere. And just to top it off, we get this brilliant moment.
Jason's too young to travel between galaxies.
Ah, so that's where you draw the line, is it? Taking your child to missions that could potentially result in the both of you dying is fine, but travelling to a different galaxy, that's just a step too far. The whales then jump to hyperspace and the episode ends. What an absolute disaster of an episode. How people can call this the best episode of Star Wars television is completely beyond me. There's practically nothing substantive going on in this episode. The flashbacks were just an excuse to bring back Anakin Skywalker, but they do nothing new or interesting with him. And everything outside of the flashbacks was absolute nonsense. Oh, I'm gonna hop inside this space whale and pray to God that it takes me to the place I need to go. What a genius plan. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. It really was
one big pile of shit.